Or is this reality at this point?
Is it reality? What do BLG want to do about this? Because they've got jungle
some
picks
good picks
available, they've got
into
AD picks ability. Yeah, I mean, there are some available. They're
But
hovering
it's
it because
just
they
been
acknowledge
on
it's
the
up. Do they
Kennen,
want
man.
to? They have to. They absolutely have to. They can't leave that up in the hands of EDG. So now, what is the response? You've got Wukong, you've got AD carries. Aphelios is likely to be snapped up here in this rotation. But now the bigger issue is, right, you want Wukong likely for Jiejie, right? But then the Rakan's also available. So how much priority do you put on the Aphelios between those three? It seems like it has to be in the top two at the very least. Maybe you can allow the Rakan to go over if you're happy to pick up something like the Nautilus into it. We'll see though, EDG at the very least, they won't leave on this Aphelios because he is that change in game.
And it will be just that 5th game in a row at this point for Leave, but it is the comfort. And again, I think you see it work out when they can play away and let him farm up, let him get the late game that we've known so well. Now, Vi was something that was banned away pretty heavily in the early parts of this series. It finally gets let through, at least to Jiejie's hands, and that is something he's really fallen back onto and something that's worked out really well for EDG.
Yeah, okay. I don't mind this either. Had a couple of good opening games on the Wukong, but gives it over this time to Shun. First time this series that he'll pick that one up. And like you said, leans back on it. Do BLG want to give over the Rakan? Do they feel like Elk's champion pool is deep enough, or do they even really want to test the waters on that? Oh, Jinx. Wow, game 5 Jinx. It's us back to start 2022, 2021. Jinx Aphelios, 24/7. But I expect now that EDG seeing this, they have two options, right? Support into 2 support protection bands. Are they really going to go Ahri? I mean, they can. It's a really strong duo, of course. But also the top side of the map is where I worry. How deep is Allah's champion pool into the likes of a Kennen in terms of being bullied out in lane? As EDG, they go towards FoFo's Ahri. Excellent game number 2 on the pick. We'll see if he can replicate some of that magic here in game 5.
There might be a little bit of magic in the air as, yeah, there's a couple games, although the last one maybe not the brightest. The first game of the Ahri for FoFo was actually so good. We do get the adaptation, though, in the Jinx locked in here at least, and I think that's huge in terms of a change-up for Elk, but as well as maybe a little bit of that aggressive stance for BLG.
Yeah, potentially. I'm wondering where they're going to go with the bans and where also the support picks and drafts are going to end up. EDG should be banning Veigar here, 100%. That shouldn't be any other ban but Veigar. I'm wondering if there's anything else they're really worried about on this next rotation. I feel like they shouldn't be at all. So remove that away just because you've got Ahri on your comp, but also you're trying to move forward with the Ahri and Vi as a duo, and Veigar just eats that up. Isolation, good matchup. So I think for BLG, do they want to remove away realistically the Rakan from this draft, from this composition, or will they be happy to give it over? Oh, Tahm Kench. Okay,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a good pick with Jinx.
I like, actually, yeah, okay, so Tahm Kench removal with the Jinx, that's a really smart call out actually against BLG here when you've got that Jinx, like you say, because Vi ult can just be negated just by that Ulma existing. And now you still get the Rakan for free unless BLG remove it. No, they want Sion gone because they don't want to deal with the front line. It's one of the few picks that can also kind of just survive. What do EDG opt for? I'm focusing a lot on the Rakan. Nautilus is still there as well. I think EDG know that either side of the matchup is going to be there. It just depends on what they want to prioritize next.
I really like this would-be pickup of the kind of engage-centered support for Meiko. Obviously, the Thresh not being let through, there's a reason for that. But you could take this, deny it from On, and maybe a little bit of redemption for Meiko on this pick here in the series.
Yep. Now, I also feel BLG could go towards the Lulu route as well. It might not be too bad against all this dive. A lot of extra survivability, right, which Nautilus can't really give you. You've got engage tools already, but they're a bit nuanced on the flank. On makes it a little more, you know, straightforward with that Nautilus. And I think those are the two options. It seems like as the hover comes closer and closer to completion, it will be locked in. And now it's about Yagao. Does he just want Veigar here? I think it's fairly high value. The only thing it really struggles into is the Vi. Other than that, does a great job at locking down Rakan, locking down Ahri, making their lives really, really miserable. But do they believe it just takes them too far into that scaling edge? It seems like it could do. I think Syndra's also a really powerful pick as well, but they go towards, there's Venn diagrams, they're going to go towards this Veigar pickup. I think it was pretty telegraphed, but also EDG have to make that call out for the Tahm Kench ban. I don't mind it at all. I think it's really smart. This is a very, very strong pick.
I will say the Veigar pick was on its way to being a monumental carry for BLG in last game, right? And I think that's an opt-in here. It is the Malphite pick, a little bit of extra gumption given by his coach there, and you love to see it. The opt-in here. Allah is a player that Doonby last year on LNG lauded. He wanted to play with Allah in the playoffs. There was a reason why they were able to make a run all the way to the end. And I think this is such an important part. You see how stern the coach is. This is game 5, everything on the line.
Everything is on the line. Malphite comes in at R5. I think it just makes so much sense. You always make Jinx's life miserable. Immobile carries on BLG, both of them mid and AD, but also the lane matchup. It's one of the few, you know, melee champions that can really go.
Their blood, their sweat, their tears. It's the LPL lower bracket finals. It's BLG versus EDG, and let the blood flow.
One game separates a visit to MSI and finals a rematch against JDG. For EDG, looking for redemption, 3-0'd. For BLG, feeling like they got robbed. But first, they have to go through one another. And it's all come down to a game 5 where everything else before this does not matter. It all comes down to what you can find in this last game. And both these teams, they've set themselves up for a fair amount of success. If BLG can make it past that 20-minute mark, they're feeling good. They'll feel all right. But for EDG, they can go whenever they feel like it. Vi, Malphite, Rakan, they'll do whatever it takes to find a good team fight.
So much pressure, so much tension in this match. Such a back and forth series we've had on our hands. And it started off with questions towards EDG, right? This long-standing proud member of the LPL. We saw them get 3-0'd by JDG. It did not look good. But then we saw game 1 not go their way. Oh, what's going on with EDG? What is this journey led to? But it's been a comeback in the series of its own. And I think that's been so crucial. The way they've tried to find out BLG's playstyle. And in this 5th game, it's going to be even more so important to take a lot of those lessons learned.
Yeah, and talking about that, right? Look at Jiejie's pathing. Starting on the bottom side, pathing away from the bot lane. He wants to go and supplement this 1v1 top side matchup just because Malphite is, you know, such a powerful lane bully into the Kennen, right? If you try and step up as the Kennen, you just get queued and you run away. You can't actually trade back onto this Malphite. He'll be very, very rock solid. Shun is also actually following suit. He's clearing out the bottom side of his map and he's going to make his way up to the top lane. So both these junglers will meet up here. And we asked, hey, will this be the adaptation again from EDG, right? Will they give Allah the agency to try and match Bin in lane? And whilst necessarily in the first couple of levels, Malphite doesn't inherently offer that, you know, massive amount of kill threat, they know level 6, once that's online, they can always murder Bin whenever they want to, and they always know he'll bring that massive wall to the team fights.
And I love it because we, at the culmination of this series, get the culmination that feels like so fitting for both these two teams. We have top laners who, while they've been ready to go to fisticuffs, are now on very team fight deciding carries here. They will be flanking, they will be finding engages. It is eyes on the rest of the team, eyes on Elk and Leave, Yagao and FoFo as what will be that moment that they can capitalize on when their top laners get involved later on in the game.
Yeah, exactly. When top laners get involved, I also want to know how these mid laners are going to interact in the team fights too, because like we mentioned, Yagao had a really, really solid game in game 4 on this Veigar, but I think in this game he's got even more value just because the mobile AD carry, but also the amount of mobility available to the rest of the map. He can make their lives really, really difficult when it comes to finding engages. So as long as Yagao gets to a point in the game where he still feels quite stable, he'll always provide that very, very irritating CC that EDG are going to duck around. FoFo will always be able to work off Jiejie. Yeah, I was going to say, does he really want this play? The rest of the BLG would have been making their way down. It seems to be fine.
And we've seen such an importance on early dragons in this series as well, especially from EDG's side. Whenever they do have those objective control moments, it feels like they are feeling a lot more comfortable. Although there was the game they lost, they got the first 2 and then they lost. But, you know, it is about kind of perspective on how they've been approaching the early to mid game, how they look for control around this dragon pit, and now how they adapt that into a game where they're on red side for game number 5. And BLG has feel like a lot of prevalence towards that objective as well when they're on blue.
Yeah, agreed. I think first dragon, here's the tricky thing, right? Bot side prio, right now this wave is stacking. So if Jiejie wants to play for it, he can. I don't know if he got spotted coming with that wall, but there's no pings. They're going for a play potentially.
They got to grab some stun down there. On the Nautilus, though, is a big wall there. They get the re-engage onto Meiko. He does have the grand interest to get away. And we have Yagao, who TP'd bottom side, the roam from FoFo. And we're back to what has been the case in every other game besides last game, where we are focusing completely around bot.
Yeah, really, really defensive TP from Yagao, just to make sure no over-aggression comes out from EDG, or if there is, it's punished. FoFo was also making his roam down there. I'm not actually entirely sure whether or not a huge amount of CS was missed in the mid lane, but given where the lane is, it seems like it was just a reset from the previous wave, so nothing ventured, nothing gained. I think we just returned to a little bit of stalemate, but like you said, I think the fact that these two teams returning to the bottom side is so interesting, especially on the EDG perspective, just because of how well focusing on that top side went. Maybe once the level 6 comes online, not just for Ala, but also for Jiejie, we'll see a little more focus down there. But as I say that, FoFo is back down.
He's hit that level 6 mark. Elka's a little low on the Jinx.
They don't want to give it. You see, and I like this. Just the fog pressure, right? Just by not knowing where FoFo is, even though he's not committing for the dive, you don't know until Shun gets there. Now they're on top of the dragon, but BLG, I don't think they want to give it
level
up
6
free.
for
The issue
Yagao
is,
as well.
bot side, they can't really rotate yet, and if they rotate, they get collapsed on. So as long as they
They've
can get the dragon to reset, I think
them.
BLG, yeah, as long as the dragon resets, this BLG win. And now this could force out a bot side play instead.
See, wrap around though, the rest of BLG are on their way. Shun actually holding just a little bit outside of the vision play there, but ain't gonna commit now. They will see Yagao and EDG not gonna pull the trigger here. So some attempts, some looks, but nothing pulled just yet.
No, they don't wanna overforce, right? If you start giving this Jinx a lot of gold early on, just because of a misplay, the game can feel very, very oppressive. Now, fortunately, because of the EDG call out of Tom Kench, there's no additional safety net in that regard, so you're always going to be able to maybe find her out, but you never want to give the opportunity for the snowball to start in the first place.
Now we will have both objectives on the map here very shortly at least. The dragon has already been up. We saw the attempted fights over bot lane, but there will be a Rift Herald also up in about 45 seconds. And so far, we've seen that vision control from EDG around bottom side. We do have our level 6s completed for both top laners, so there could be a little bit of nuance within this Rift Herald fight, but something that, again, BLG could try to focus on.
BLG definitely can. They've got strong, powerful tools as well. I think just having Malphite and Kennen on the top side always means that if there's a Herald exchange, it's going to be bloody, right? There's going to be fisticuffs going on, like you said. Just this time a little more nuanced. So EDG as well. I think Meiko making his way up there first going to be a big deal. I think just supplementing that extra layer of CC going to be crucial. So first move from supports, I feel like could play a pretty big part. More so than it normally does in the Herald takedown. There it is, spawns up in the picture-in-picture. Crest over the 8-minute mark. But Jiejie is down here on the bottom side. Shun is on the top side. So will there be a trade of objectives, or is Shun just going to try and look for an engage here?
FoFo's going to have to flash. Pretty interesting now. I'm sure a revisit from Shun in the making here, but should go back up to this Rift Herald as well. And for the first time, it feels like in the series, we've had both objectives up for more than like 30 seconds together at the same time, but it will be the trade coming through.
All right, yep. Shun gets the flash out FoFo. And because he's ganked from the top side, EDG know he's there. They just go towards the dragon. Just because of the way the bot lane prio is. Can't really afford.
Oh my goodness.
To give it up.
Ooh.
All right, that was spooky for a moment. It's not stolen away. Good smite timing. Very, very close. But now Red's being traded. It's a bit of a split map at the moment, right? So EDG still putting priority around just kind of keeping Elk uncomfortable. But I mean, a 6 CS difference it's not make or break, man. It's not gonna end the game. Do you know what could end the game?
The biggest thing right now is the top side CS difference.
I was about to say what could end the game is a really, really fed Kennen who's drawing very, very far ahead in the CS department. You have the ability to punish this. You've got level 6 on Jiejie, you've got level 6 on Ala. I'm going to be honest, he shouldn't be able to walk away from that. So I think just send numbers up here, man. Just get the ball rolling. You don't really care if Leave is even with this Jinx. If you, you know, you've spent so much time now trying to put the Jinx behind, it's not really yielding any results. So have the game plan. You've still got time to do it.
That's the thing, though, man. Ben's got the plot armor. He was the king of spring last year with RNG. He's looking to go back to MSI to reclaim his title. He's got the Kennen for the first time in the series. The first time it's been let through at all in this series. And let alone it goes to Ben, who has been an incredible, forceful power for BLG in this season run, but also the playoffs particularly.
Exactly. Ben is him. Ben is him. And he's been him. All split long. Or more, all playoffs long in particular. And now that he's got his hands on the Kennen, it almost feels like a matter of time, right? It's not an if he hits that big Kennen ult, it's when. And what will it actually give BLG?
Nice little lockdown on the Meiko. They have to burn that exhaust. There's an in-game though. Nice 2v2. Although FoFo goes down first. And that'll be a trade pack. Now it's jungle combat as we go back into a 3v3. I believe it was first blood for BLG.
It was pretty short. FoFo gets traded back out on. It's just the mid laners going down, but I feel for EDG,
oh no,
it's not the best trade up here. Ben is just getting a couple more plates. He's already up so much CS. And Arla's just suffering up here. Like, this is a matchup where you want to be able to punish it, right? You want to be able to just go Q-Max, really poke out the Kennen, and then actually punish it with jungle attention. It's just not been the case from EDG. This is not necessarily what you pick the Malphite for into the Kennen. Obviously, it's also good into the rest of the comp. Disengage goes a little bit far for the side of Arla, and it means FoFo has to kind of just dip in a little bit further than perhaps he would be willing to go, ignoring the fact that Shun can just kind of flash on top of him like that. And the burst damage return is excellent.
Now we do see EDG continually moving now with Meiko out unlocked out of the lane, maybe trying to pull a little bit of pressure away from that bottom lane more so, but now Shun is back on the map with a Rift Herald, and it's looking like it could be focused back top side, and that is not something you want to hear if you're an EDG fan.
No, no it is not. Indeed, as this tower's been chunked out quite low already. It looks like they're just going to get an additional 2 plates at the very least.
But that should be those 2 more plates going over, which Ben is going to be so far ahead on this Kennen. You're going to have to find a mark in these fights against them, and you're going to have to find an unbreakable wall or something to go up against it as well.
Yeah, the only saving grace right now is the fact that Ben actually split his build to go into that veil, that little bit of extra magic resist to deal with the poke from Arla. So it means that his first IM is still likely going to be a little bit delayed, but by how much when he's getting this much of a catch injection is the realistic question. He's still going to make his way towards that first IM, probably at the very worst by like 15 minutes into the game.
That is the biggest pressure point right now on the map for BLG. We see Meiko going in, the Moonlight Vigil actually connecting there. We get a little bit of damage, about half health for the BLG bottom lane, as FoFo was hovering as well. You had the movement from BLG, it was quick to respond, and that should be first tower. Ooh, very, very close. Not going to go down just yet, but that is the sourest point right now that EDG need to find a way to deal with, or maybe just wait until it comes to bear later.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to have to just grit their teeth and deal with this Kennen. They've got the exhaust on Meiko, so it's always going to be an opportunity to shut it down, but I think at that point, Rakan's not going to be able to supplement the engage from Arla, and Jiejie's going to have to be on full pure duty for Leave. And I think that's fine. I think that's okay. But it does strip away that extra layer of threat to the back line, which I feel like has played such a pivotal part for BLG time and time again. Even though, yes, of course, we can praise Bin, we can wax lyrical all day about how good he is. Elk and Yagao still work off of that man's foundation.
Yeah, it was so interesting when we were coming into this. We were talking so heavily about what really makes these teams tick. And it has been impressive to see Leave step into his own on EDG, really coming in to fill big shoes that were left by Viper. But it's been Elk who started really showing off that aggressive playstyle last year on Ultra Prime, but has utilized that even more so with On in this split. And sometimes it hasn't paid off, but you get those moments where it does it. It looks so damn good. And you have this moment on the Jinx. You can get excited. You can get a big, hyper advance in a lot of these fights, and it can be something that EG will have to focus on. And Elk is that primary carry here. We see the slice of Belcher used in the bottom left corner.
Huh. Strange one. And the dragon is up, and there are unleashed teleports. So if EDG actually look to pick up this next dragon, that's a huge tool for Bin to just not have. Yeah, really, really big head scratcher there. But I'm not sure EDG really have much a clue. They're actually congregating more around the Herald for now. Curiously enough, so they want that.
First item spikes are here for a lot of BLG, and yeah, at least you have the Everfrost there for FoFo, the Black Cleaver for Jiejie. But they're going to focus on this, maybe try to leave away for that objective trade that's going down here yet again. So this time it's the opposite. We'll tie the Dragons 1-1, but the Rift Herald will go over to EDG this time.
I don't know if I like that. Not to be critical, but I feel like Soul Dragons, they've been so powerful, and you had the opportunity definitely to just be down here and take it. And they trade it. What is it? It's an Infernal as well. So Infernal Soul, a lot of extra damage can be afforded to all of these champions in this game. We'll see how that impacts things as we move forward. And also, of course, it's all about the value of what you get out of the second Herald, right? First Herald, normally you're always getting the gold from the takedown plus at least 2 plates. Oftentimes it always gets used in a weak lane, so on average maybe a little bit more, but the second Herald sometimes valued a little bit less by teams. And you know, for EDG, it's not like they're ahead and they can press the issue. Someone's on the back foot, so Herald is going to have to find some pretty big value. But for now, Soul will be miles away for both these teams.
BLG looking to collapse onto Allah here. They will find the event horizon over him. He'll be able to use that unstoppable force to get out, though. As, he is unstoppable. He's pretty forceful. As BLG just try to collapse, but you get that ulti burn. It's pretty quick cooldown, though, for even early on, I guess, on that matchup. Yep. Now, nothing else really right now except for this pressure on top side for EDG.
Just looking for a little bit of pressure on this top side, like you mentioned. I feel like just allowing FoFo a little bit of freedom. Leave.
That's a depth charge. You don't have anything left except for the flash, the mega. Oh, it's on that gets the kill at the end. But still a big catch out that's honestly happened a couple times now in this series against Leave.
Yeah, I mean, Leave, like you say, not the first time. And it's always kind of the mid lane, isn't it? It was last game as well. You got picked off by On. This time again, it's On. Flash forward. Really, really good play. Depth charge, can't get away from it. And the teleport as well. Super solid from Bin just to find the pick. But that's the thing, it's just the pick for now, right? There are no objectives to actually play for. So it's just breathing room and a little bit of extra resource going into On's back pocket, which I feel like for now, I guess EDG don't care much about. But again, it feels like a very similar story to last game where you've got Yagao on Veigar, who's going to scale up, and the turtle, the wave clear is going to be super obnoxious. And EDG,
I actually like that play.
Yeah.
Except it might be a little bit of trouble. Oh, they're going to collapse though! They found Elk! And that is the bane of every ADC ever, is when a Malphite shows up and decides it's your time to die.
Dude, Elk just disrespecting. Malphite comes out of the Herald. He's going to disrespect Meiko, maybe. Good job to keep the sport alive.
And a couple of the flashes burned out of EDG.
All right, nice that they get some of the resources back on the return play there. On Dredgeline basically gets 2 flashes back to back. Really, really good, but mid lane tower secured by EDG. And again, if we're talking about breaking bastions of safety when Veigar's on the map, it's a very good way to go about it. Is this going to be the initial pick? No, this is just going to be Herald coming in, or it is. It is the initial pick. So Flash comes out
just
to the Dredgeline
barely couldn't get around the corner.
Yeah, it's pretty frustrating to leave, but he just shouldn't be that far up. And he has a rough idea of where the Nautilus could be. And, you know, it's like brothers in arms, AD carry players, aren't they? I see one AD carry on the opposite end, overstep, I will do the same. Punished for it. Malphite presses his Archie on him. Fortunately, though, Elk didn't blow his flash, so he's going to have it for the next dragon fight. So at the very least, he can dodge it the next time, Mazel, if he doesn't dodge it that time.
And again, the theme for EDG has been setting a vision around Dragon, around the objectives at least they want to take early on, and then revisiting that as we get a little bit closer to the actual objective take. We're actually seeing a decent amount of BLG vision this time around, which I feel like early on was a little bit lacking, but we are seeing those first items all the way across the board. We're pushing for those seconds, trying to get those before the fight actually kicks off, and it does look like the rapid fire cannon was completed for Elk. So we'll have a couple more weapons online and see where the focus wants to be. Right now, a lot of pings from BLG towards mid lane to try to get priority.
Yeah, okay. We'll see what they can actually do about that mid lane priority. Very interesting itemization from Elk. It just says to me that he doesn't want to be anywhere near EDG. if he can get on first wall and just try and
died
find a
once
little
to
bit
the
of poke
unstoppable force, you know.
He dies once, he's like, you know what? Never again. I'm just gonna be as far away as I possibly can. I don't know the maps on it.
Next up is the GA.
Yeah, nice. He just goes G8. Just for the sake of it. I wonder what his itemization will look like. I imagine if he wants to damage, he'll go IE next, but also there's a lot of front line with a fair amount of armor, so potentially he could consider, of course, going towards Lord Doms. But actually, as I say that and take a look at the inventories of EDG, a lot of them are, so I'll take that point back. Maybe he does go towards the IE. We'll see. Jinx can always break a game. Also, so can Kennen, so options are plenty for BLG.
And he's still got like a 40 CS lead in that fight, but now we might be seeing that first foray into our 5v5s. We're getting the TP from FoFo on the side. It is a flank. Bin is already in place, so there's no flank coming out. FoFo, they're looking for, they know where they need to focus. Look on the other side, Meiko's already down. There is a trade now, but that's a big tool down. The Slicing Maelstrom didn't get much, but they find FoFo, who doesn't have any Spirit Rush anymore, as now the Dragon, the focus for BLG. Jiejie goes over the side. This might be a third Dragon, but it feels like we're on the precipice of a cliff that EDG is waiting to see who comes out on top of. And BLG do get that second Dragon for themselves, and I think they will utilize that pressure from mid lane, try to push a little bit more, and vision around Baron is now where I'm looking.
I think that team fight says a lot about where EDG's mentality is at. I think they are very, very scared of the Kennen. If they're willing to commit 2 ultimates, just remove him from the team fight, 3 actually, because Spirit Rush came out from FoFo. They do not want to deal on the opposite side. Meiko got caught out. If he doesn't get caught out, then maybe EDG have an opportunity to try and collapse and pincer a turnaround. As you see here, Meiko just trying to rotate. It's just disrespectful whilst this is going on the bottom side. And that means that Leave also can't rejoin this team fight because he's standing between 4 members of BLG if he does. So EDG, I think that's okay. If you can actually find Bin and remove him from the team fight, as long as you maintain at least 1 extra ultimate, maybe 2 if you're lucky, you'll always have that option. But that option's not going to remain there for long, because Bin, once this drop down doesn't come through, if he's not going to go Zhonya's after this Banshees, I'll be very, very surprised.
Yeah, it would just clear up so many things in the team fights, just because you know that point and click can either be focused onto Elk or it'll be focused on Bin, because those are the big team fight changers right now for BLG. Although EDG trying to catch out a little bit, they will have to TP in Ala. As now they actually catch a charm, and now On's in trouble. There's the Unstoppable Force again, and the cease and desist onto Yagao. But here comes Bin, and he wants some revenge! A Slicing Maelstrom wreaks havoc. Leave has found a flank on the other side. The Mega Death Rocket comes across, but it's not enough damage. And now BLG have stepped too far forward. They've gotten the resets off. They will find Leave on the other side, but the Event Horizon can Shun make the difference? I think he might be able to. It's a quadra kill for Ala. Is it gonna be a penta? And they're gonna give it to him! No, he heals up, and there you go! A pentakill for EDG's Ala!
Ala is rock solid with the pentakill. I don't even know how the hell he managed it, but he does anyway, because that's just what Ala does on Malphite, apparently. And BLG cannot deal with that team fight. They overreach, they overstep. That recall is awesome. And Ala's even rocking Doinby's skin, man, to top it all off. Didn't catch that until just now.
Gotta give respect where respect is due, man. Ala, he was subbed out of that roster on LNG, but it was Doinby. If you look back into those videos from that year, it was Doinby who wanted him back in for playoffs, and he was the difference maker. Now he came in to fill some shoes that EDG were rebuilding off of, and this man said, Ben, who? I want to go to MSI.
Oh my god. Can you believe something like that has gone on now? Here is one more thing I will say. Silver lining, those kills aren't going on to a carry. But
he's going on 3-man! As now, he's locked out though, and they don't have the resets this time. I feel like EDG were a little bit overzealous. They still have to respect BLG, and that was a heck of an engage, but now it's apparent in the eyes of BLG.
There's just no follow-up damage. Leave wasn't there. Moonlight Vigil wasn't available. He couldn't follow up at range with the extra AoE. They get turned around on. All of a sudden now Baron's on the cards. Turn around, they get Leave!
Oh, but that's a big Event Horizon as well. They go straight back on the shoot, but now they're still getting damage down. Bin, that's a big damage movement from Yagao, and Elk is getting excited. BLG, the and now they'll raise you a Baron.
How the hell does something like this happen? Arla goes in for the engage. Eventually now BLG get on top of the Baron. They'll take it, surely. Teleport's coming in from FoFo.
Oh,
what the hell?
Oh, goodness. That's close. He used the Spirit Rush. Maybe he wants to go in. He sees a lot of low health members. That should be 5 Baron buffs escaping from BLG. And we got chaos across the rip, but BLG maintain their advantage here. About 3,000 gold in the lead.
All right, step back. BLG have Baron. Dragon's up in 40 seconds. What do these fights that we're about to watch in the replay mean? Look at this. The thing is, as soon as those things come out of the bush, right? Chompers, Event Horizon, he has to go forward, but he gets one shot. He's not tanky enough yet to actually stand in the middle of all of those members. FoFo gets caught out as well by Jiejie and leave.
I actually think
again,
the Bin ulti was so big right there.
Yeah, Bin ulti as well. Just stops so many people from moving forward. Leave caught out here inside of the Event Horizon. Low cleanser him, but just Ghost. So he can't just try and reposition, walk out. Get stunned up, crucially, for the Dark Matter to come down and bop him on his head.
Oh. Let's go, Tabe! Man, it is a pop-up moment. That shuriken, I didn't see that in the moment. Bin hit that connection on the leave. It's so huge, and now you're looking at a 5-on-5 with another Baron for 2 minutes, and a Dragon on the table, sole point for BLG.
My goodness me. BLG. Couple of good fights there. It looked a little bit spooky as soon as Arla locks in that Penta, but again, I was getting around to it before the engage came through. Those kills don't go on to leave, they don't go on to FoFo. It's not damage carries, it is frontline. So if he goes in, sure, and he finds that, oh, fantastic, the follow-up has to be there. Can he repeat some of that magic in this team fight? Dragon's going down.
Mega Death Rocket.
Oh!
That's a 900-pound beast right there! As BLG have secured Dragon's soul point, and now they're looking to siege on a mid lane.
You've got to be kidding me. They'll get the tower
is
is
desperate. They want the engage. The slicing maelstroms on top of it all. They find Elk. The Moonlight Vigil comes through. They'll leave. Able to pop down a lot of Calvin damage. And EDG, they clean house on the BLG, but a big shutdown goes back over to Yagao.
Oh, they got Bin and they got Elk in the same engage. It's the 2 crucial members they have to shut down, but Yagao's still on the map to take down FoFo in response. EDG, oh, they just have to be frustrated. They go for the engage on the back end. They get a couple more kills. All that's going to do is just get them a little more time back out on the map. Baron, of course, will time out. That was in the hands of BLG. And the Turtle, I suppose, will continue to scale up. Yagao about to hit 3 items, i.e. there for Elk. EDG, fundamentally, they're actually still behind until these third items actually come back in. But they'll always have the opportunity to find those massive engages through Arla, through Jiejie, through Meiko. You saw it in action there.
And can I just say that I feel like this is the best boxing match we've had all year long so far in the LPL. It starts off with Elk, a huge steal at the last moment with the Super Mega Death Rocket. But the passion is on full display between these two teams, and it is incredible to watch them work within these tight moments, and the desperation actually paid off for EDG.
Yeah, FoFo's on the flank. Jiejie actually uses the ultimate to go through the baby cage, crucially as well. As on the backside, Lee finds a massive Caliber moment to put out the DPS from range. Everything just falls in place there for EDG. Turret does go down in the meantime. But third items, they just have to come in. It's the only way that EDG can contest. They're not that far behind in total gold, so I suspect Death Cap will come in soon for FoFo. Third item should be on the horizon for Leave as well. They need those to stand toe-to-toe. BLG have to make sure that Bin finds those big ultimates, that Elk stays safe. Crucially, BLG just have to do the opposite of that, right? Ensure that Bin never finds that massive slicing up Maelstrom and try and find their engages onto as many of the core carries as possible.
And you've got those 3 completed for all the core carries for BLG. You're still trying to come online. Rabadon's around the corner for FoFo. Yeah, about 2.5 minutes for the Dragon to spawn. You'd expect that EDG will move Vision around here and try to move away, but now they got to play for Bin. They know the TP has been utilized there. They got to try to find a way out. They try to catch out Shun. He goes golden. They're going to wrap around. Bin is on the other side, though. They know there's a timer clicking here. And they got to be a little bit careful. Ala in some trouble himself. He's going to have to pull the ulti. Here comes Bin! And Bin has found the back line! You got Leave with the red. He's able to fight, but he's stuck. He can't get out. Hey, BLG! They dominate yet another team fight. And it's about the way they pick apart EDG.
We just said Bin can't find a big ultimate, otherwise EDG are gonna struggle. And what does he do? 5 seconds later, he does just that. Elk goes mostly untouched. I don't think that teleport's coming through.
No! Oh my god! No way! This is a heck of a push. This should be a tier 2 down, but EDG! They've fallen out the wayside here.
Oh my goodness me. All of a sudden, it's back to a coin cost again. But this time, BLG are slightly more favorable, aren't they? It feels like EDG, they have to shut down these core facets. They do. They've got a minute and a half. We said, right? Items have to come in. IE wasn't here for leave. Maybe that's a difference maker. Death cap as well for FoFo not completed. These are crucial items in spiking damage on these carries. Bin finds the long wraparound flank. Elk is untouched for the most part. But look at Leave's damage on the return. It gets shifted away because Bin is there. And he can't do anything about it. He just has to respect the fact that the damage can be there. Meiko not alive to exhaust him.
Flash from Elk to get out from the heal from him as well, so he can get that big chunk from the Caliber Moonlight Vigil. And you see the damage. Elk, my man, the big beast in the corner, has been haunting the nightmares of ADCs throughout these LPL spring playoffs. He has come to bear on EDG.
He has. In extreme fashion, EDG, they're taking the Baron.
EDG are grasping. They are grasping here. They are trying to get something back. The rocks are slipping beneath their very feet, and they feel like they gotta find something. It's feeling a little bit desperate, though, as Ben has found the back, and big stuns come across, and every time you come to knock at BLG's door, it's Elk, it's Ben, it's the carries of Bilibili that will lock in the first ever MSI trip for Bilibili Gaming.
BLG are making a trip to London. They're making a revenge tour to finals against JDG as they take down EDG in 5 games of a bloodbath. EDG tried their damnedest, but it's just not enough because Bin is too powerful and Elk will not be stopped on those resets. You have to be feeling bad for EDG, but elation for BLG as they make it to their first ever MSI.
And as the dust settles London, you have a challenger. BLG will be our second LPL representative to MSI 2023. And what a fitting way for it to be. What a journey it has been for this squad in particular, running through RNG, running through Weibo, falling to JDG, stopping the run of OMG, stopping the legacy of EDG for a rematch in the finals, and to take it to that MSI. What a come up it has been, and Ben in particular.